It's Triple Crown here, Saturday, December 28th, 2024. Here it is, the final card show of 2024. I'm at the Dayton Mall for the last one. Let's get into it.
Can I take a look at the WIT logo fractor? Thank you.
Those don't even exist.
Have you ever been thinking about a specific card or wanting to look for a specific card that is rare, doesn't usually pop up all that often, and then all of a sudden one pops up on eBay or you find one at a show? Well, that is what is happening right here. Good friend of mine here on YouTube, Eric, those back pages, was discussing this exact Bobby Witt Jr. card with me not all that long ago. In fact, probably the week of this video taking place, he was showing me some on eBay, including a PSA 9 that I told him, you know, you might want to wait on that one. You might be able to find another one. Well, sure enough, the very next show I go to, I find this Bobby Witt at one of the first tables I stop at. Really couldn't believe it because, as the dealer alluded to, these things don't pop up all that often. I'm going to try to get this for him. I ended up texting him, kind of felt out where he wanted to be in terms of price. The dealer told me that he might have been a little high on it, but he was flexible, and that is going to be my key to kind of working the number down to closer to what Eric is willing to pay. And I'm also making sure that he's on board with getting this copy of the card as opposed to one of the two that is listed on eBay. I have that Aaron Donald in my stack, the nice little zebra die cut, as well as that Corbin Carroll. Maybe that will get me a slightly better price, but those are kind of just throw-ins for myself on this deal. But hopefully we get this done.
Out of curiosity, is there a reason you didn't send it in?
So even nines sell really good. I'm only worried about top to bottom.
Yeah,
that's my only concern is top to bottom.
That's what I was thinking.
The rest of it's in great condition, but my opinion, top to bottom is going to nine it.
Yeah,
and I could get more value out of a 9, but
one of Eric's few concerns with this card, which was completely valid, is the question of why is this card raw? It's never been the case where this Bobby Witt Jr. card was in a dollar box. This is a card where if you pulled it from a pack, especially a product as niche as Logo Fractor was in 2022, there's probably a reason why it wasn't graded and why someone hadn't looked it over previously to send off. Now, I could tell that the card was off centering-wise, top to bottom, but I was still wondering maybe there was a different reason, perhaps a scratch, a crease, an indent, something that would also prevent it from going off. But here you see the seller say it was really just the centering, and the 9 probably wasn't worth it for him to send in, which is fair. If he were to send it in and it got a 9 after the grading fee and then the return shipping cost, maybe it wasn't really worth it for him to take the 9 on this. That's really what I'm checking for here, and I looked the card over. It still looks pretty good, so that fear has been qualmed.
Would you be able to get a little closer to where the 9s have been at on this one? Okay. I was seeing them anywhere from like low to mid 4s. I would say like 450 for this whole stack. That works for you? Basically 420 there and then 20 and 10.
Those who are regular viewers of my vlogs know that I am not one to bring up recent sales unless the situation may call for it or the dealer seems open to it. On that Witt, we had kind of discussed it a little bit in a clip that I had cut out where he told me that on some of the prices on his stuff, you know, they're not completely up to date, and I totally get that. I don't even have all my stuff always up to date every single show, and that's especially hard to do if you're doing shows every single weekend. Life happens too. People can't always be on top of things 100% right up to the minute. That's an unhealthy expectation, nor do they have to price their cards at exactly what the last one sold for. But he seemed open to negotiation on the Witt. We kind of talked through it there, and that is an offer I came up with. I want to make sure I'm making a fair offer, but I'm also looking out for my friend here. I want to get Eric the best quality card possible at the best price I possibly can for him. Hopefully the best of both worlds meet here.
Give me, get to 475.
It's going to be for a friend, so we'll make sure it's cool with them for that.
Yep, totally get it.
When it comes to buying cards for friends, I have a policy for myself that is pretty straightforward. I only make the purchase if I feel comfortable making that purchase with my own money. Meaning, if my friend for some reason were to back out on me over whatever card I'm buying, I would feel comfortable with the price I paid, knowing that then it would be up to me to either keep it myself or to move it. And in most cases, it's going to be the latter, because I'm not always buying cards that appeal both to myself and my friend. I'm buying it for them, right? It's not because it's something that I necessarily want. Now, I don't think that getting stuck with a Bobby Witt logo fractor would be a bad thing at all. But Eric wouldn't do that to me. He's a very good friend. I've known him for many years. I just want to confirm with him because it is quite a bit of money, and I don't want to spend $450 of his money on a card without really consulting him first and making sure he's 100% okay with it. So I give him a quick call, and he gives me the green light.
I think that's a very good deal. I think that's fair for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't care if it. He just wants it to be a 9, and I don't think that there's any worries of it not.
I don't think there is. Like I said, I looked at it. I grade a bunch, and left to right's great. Corners are great. Surface looked really good. I think I can't guarantee, but yeah, I think it's a really good shot.
And he wants the card most importantly. So.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I told him this is probably your best chance for a while.
These do not. Yeah, these don't show up.
I mean, I can't believe I was literally just talking about.
I think that's funny.
Yeah. Just it your way.
Funny how that works, but that's cool. Yeah, we're good.
Cool.
Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Bobby Witt logo fractor secured. Now, what will happen with the card next in terms of what Eric wants to do with it? Will he keep it raw? Will he grade it? That's something that we'll discuss after the show is over and I go finish making my rounds, picking up some stuff on the day. But I'm happy to have the card in my possession. Eventually it will become in his possession. But it's always weird when we're talking about a card and then bam, there it is the very next show. It doesn't happen all that often, but it's kind of cool when it works out that way, especially when it works out this well.
Makes sense, yeah.
I haven't sent them out yet.
This is our first time. So this is the first time we put it in.
I'm not a huge fan of what they did with the border this year.
I think it's kind of goofy looking, if you want the honest answer.
But this is the first time Mandel's been out too, so...
Actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that at all.
I think they lost the estate for a couple of years or something because he wasn't in... They didn't make him in Gilded the first 2 years. And he was in a lot of the Panini products again, so I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know what happened with that.
Actually, I did not know that at all.
You never go wrong buying things you love, especially in my position. I try to buy things as a dealer that I am passionate about because that passion I feel will show when I go to sell it, when I go to talk about the card. That passion will definitely ring true on a Mickey Mantle Chromium card. This is his inaugural appearance in the Gilded Collection set, which I absolutely love the first 2 years of it, but the design in 2024 with the weird borders leaves a lot to be desired in my opinion. But it is Mantle's first appearance, and I do not want to downplay the significance of that. And while I can't really say that I'm a big fan of the borders, it's not enough of a deal breaker to persuade me not to acquire one of these cards. This one looks pretty sharp. The price is pretty fair on this one. Maybe I can get an extra $10 to $20 off of sticker, but if not, I'll go ahead and pony up the 160, but let's see if I can get maybe a slight discount on this one.
Did you take 140 on it?
I could do 150, and that's about it.
150?
Yeah.
Let's see what else you got. Are these yours?
Yeah, everything's here.
Okay, cool. I'll take it for 150.
Perfect. Did you set up today?
No, just walking around.
Really thought I'd be able to get away with 140 there, but 150 is perfectly fine. That's fair for that card. I was looking around his case just to see if maybe there was something that I could bundle. I was already okay with the price on the Mantle, but maybe bundling something else in there actually gets me down to that 140 number. But nothing really jumped out where I said, okay, I have to have that. And that is encouraging to see on my end, reflecting back on this video that I shot almost a month ago now, just because it kind of shows my maturation as a buyer. I'm not forcing myself to add things on for the sake of getting a better number. I'm just taking a card at a fair price and moving along, and that is growth for me, and I'm very excited about that.
Is 3 the best you have on it?
Let me make sure.
Here is something that you will seldom see in my vlogs. That is me selling to a dealer. Most of the time, I'm the one who is set up, and if I'm not set up, I don't actually bring any cards with me to sell or trade. If I am bringing cards with me, it is for the latter, where I am looking to potentially trade if the right card catches my eye. But even then, I probably prefer to buy it over trading, even though I consider myself a fairly good trader these days. But in this case, I'm kind of glad that I did bring it along, because this is a gentleman I've done plenty of business with before. He told me that he has a Whatnot show coming up where he needed a cheaper downtown and asked me, hey, if you see any at the show, can you let me know, like, if you can see one on the show floor that's reasonable, that would be good for this. And I asked him, well, when you mean a cheap one, how cheap are we talking? I happen to have this Derek Carr from 2023 Optic in my case. That's probably one of the cheaper ones you're going to find out there, aside from like a Malik Willis or a Desmond Ritter in terms of football downtowns. I pulled it out of my case and we decided to negotiate on it. Like I said, I usually don't sell to dealers because I don't really need to, but when it comes to someone who I've done business with before, I do make an exception.
That's because we've done business before.
No, that's fair. 275? Okay. I have to ask you. Is there anything you want to trade for either?
That's a good question.
Let's hold this here for a second.
Yeah.
You keep looking.
But, I mean, every Lions downtown, I can tell you, it's going to have a car, a lion, or soul music singers.
Right.
It's every single one is going to have the same.
And Chicago's going to have the Sears Tower somewhere.
They look at the Jack Campbell blue.
Absolutely. I love that card. We have an auto, too, somewhere. It's just a base, though. That's a blue variation.
Can we make it 240 with this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You were happy?
I'm happy if you're happy.
That's all
I much prefer this deal rather than selling the car straight up. This way I get the Jack Campbell. Maybe there's a little bit more upside there as opposed to the $275 I was being offered before. The majority of my deal is still cash, so I'll have that cash to spend at this show or at a later point in time if need be. And then he's getting the car that he needs for his show. Win-win on both sides. We're both happy, and that's really what we're looking for when we're making a trade. Both sides to end up happy with what they got. After that last deal, the only things I really picked up were this Tim Patrick Tiger Stripe out of 2020 Select, as well as a few nice burrows. I got the 2022 Glass Mosaic, which is my favorite year of all the glass mosaics that they've done, as well as a 2022 Select Zebra, the hobby version, which is significantly more difficult to hit than the die-cut retail version. Then from there, really just some value box digging, no crazy finds to really speak of, but some good quality cards nonetheless, and a great way to wrap up the 2024 calendar year. Next time around, I'll show you my first show of 2025. It was the Eastgate Mall show from this past weekend, and then we'll get into some more meatier shows with the Culture Collision vlogs coming out sometime next week. Can't wait for that show here in the coming days. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. I will see you on down the road later this week. Take care, stay safe, be kind.